What?
Alright guys, Everseen here. We did it again. We found another build for HCSSF that is kind of busted damage for super cheap. This build, you gotta be patient for it. You gotta farm the transfigured gems. That's the only disclaimer of the video, is you do need transfigured gems for this build. So if you don't mind farming Labyrinth for a little while, and you know, it's pain, but we'll get through it together. This build, the damage scaling, once you get the gem, is just insane. All you gotta scale really is minion damage, minion accuracy, minion crit, and minion crit multi, really. And when I say you gotta farm transfigured gems, it's really not that bad. You only have to farm one of the 4 possibilities, because there's a bombarding version and also a prismatic version of both blink arrow and mirror arrow. And it's really not that bad. Once you get one of them, you could just go on and play with it. And level with it, and then once you get, you know, my kind of plan was to use whatever I got and then go back and do Uber Lab once I was like level 75 to 80-ish and get the double use on the font, and then just kind of farm up that way and hopefully get Blink Arrow Bombarding clones, because that's really like the one you want. If you get Mirror Arrow Bombarding clones, it's also like not a bad thing, but I find like blinking around and being able to do lots of damage is like super nice, quality of life. But the damage is phenomenal on this build. I mean, leveling, like I said, was just a joke. So in my version, I went Templar. The only reason why I didn't go Witch to go Necromancer was because getting the gems is kind of a pain. And I also just didn't want to level a Witch. I really like the leveling of Guardian because we have the Sentinel of Radiance. Yeah, he's going to get nerfed a little bit, but he's still going to be super strong all the way up until maps. You know, the damage reduction from taking 20% of damage from you is like a free fortify. So it's kind of a no-brainer for me on hardcore. I find that Necromancer just doesn't really have that. And yeah, they have Leech, but like I said before in other videos, like I'm really not a fan of leeching builds. I also tried a Ranger, but I didn't like the progression of Ranger. I feel like it's really slow in the beginning. Unlike Templar, where I could just, you know, go my classic Rolling Magma setup with Holy Flame Totem and just steamroll everything. And then we basically want a path right up to the Fire Mastery, which gives you critical hits do not inherently ignite. But they do 100% more damage to ignited enemies, which gives like an insane amount of damage. Especially when you swap into Armageddon Brand at level 28, like, you just do a lot of damage. I was kind of worried about not being able to farm the Transfigured Gems, like not being able to do it Zaro fast enough, but I really didn't have any issues. I found you had a lot of damage. Even so, like, I wasn't taking any damage nodes on the passive tree. I basically just pathed up to the Fire Mastery, and then I just instantly started pathing down to like the cooldown recovery node that you need for BAMA, because you need this like 100% increased cooldown recovery for the skill, so you can just basically use it. I think it cuts the cooldown like in half, right? So, but I haven't really seen anybody doing videos on BAMA for like the upcoming league. I have seen some for like last league, and like Previ's like a big YouTuber that does this archetype. Rise QT also played it. I haven't really seen a whole lot of people play it, and one thing about this build is it's really off-putting to level, because there's so many weird things that you need to do. Like, you need to farm transfigured gems, you need to play like a certain class so that you can get gems easier, blah blah blah. Basically what I did was I did up to the library quest on Templar, and then I just went and bought 2 sets of Blink Arrow, Mirror Arrow, and then I just started farming Lab. So like, it really wasn't that bad at all. But yeah, farming transfigured gems does suck, but we also have like the best outcome for farming transfigured gems. I mean, the only better thing would be farming red gems, right? Because there's so few of them, so they're easy to get. Farming Lab also isn't that bad because you get a lot of rare items. So if you don't have good gear, you could stay in normal Lab and just farm up like a decent little base of gear, so you're not progressing too quickly. You're kind of like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Like, you're catching up your resistances, your armor, etc., while you're farming your gems. But man, did I ever kill so many Itzaros. I think I was like level 40, 41-ish before I actually got like prismatic clones and started leveling with it. And I did 2 leveling runs. I decided I wanted to do 2, where I did one with bombarding clones and one with prismatic clones. I'm super new to this build. I have no knowledge on this build really at all, so I'm kind of like learning it as I go. and just learning all these quirks and stuff of the build that nobody really is teaching in YouTube videos. Nobody really teaches people to level. They just kind of show an end game and say, oh, look at me. But anyway, Prismatic, Bombarding, you can use both for leveling. I did both. Prismatic, all you need to do is you need to link lesser multiple projectiles with it, because if you don't, your minions only shoot one projectile, which sucks for clear. You really want Bombarding clones because it's like an AoE effect. Like, it off-screens everything, and it's super quality of life. Like, it's awesome. You just pretty much run through the campaign. You don't really have to worry about much. I mean, just use your flasks, have your sentinel uptime at 100%, and you're pretty tanky, really. So yeah, the damage feels so crazy on this build that you can just invest in so many different defensive layers, which I really want for hardcore, right? So, you know, you've got the Sentinel of Radiance, which takes 20% of damage from his life before yours. Basically Fortify, right? 20% less damage. Then you got the Jinx Juju Amulet. It's kind of my chase item. I don't even think it's that rare, but it takes 10% of damage from a Spectre's life before yours. So already you've got 30% damage mitigation right there. And then, you know, we're a Guardian, so we've got lots of life regen from the Ascendancy. We've got, you know, attack block and spell block from the Ascendancy. Then we take Glancing Blows, which gives us even more mitigation. And then we've got, you know, 100% spell suppression, which is awesome. We can do, like, you know, pinnacle bosses and stuff with this build. And then we've got physical to Ellie mitigation as well. We can get it from the tree, and we can get it on our helmet, you know, on pieces of gear. So that's awesome. And I may even get, like, a Lethal Pride in this build. I'm not sure yet. The tree is a little tight because you have to go so many directions. But I'm looking into it, so... So initially I wasn't going to league start this because I really thought that farming first lab was going to be a pain, but having that mastery and using Armageddon brand was easy enough. And then, you know, as you level, you kind of just walk all over. It's Zaro anyway. I mean, I had to kill him a bunch of times. I'll have to kill him a bunch of times on League Start too, but I'm not really worried about that. The only reason why I wanted to League Start this build as opposed to my Stormburst Hierophant that I was going to play is because this build is scalable in the end game. Like, this build is going to be what makes me push into T14 maps and then potentially Ubers later on. I've never really attempted doing the Ubers yet, so I don't know if I'll get there, but I think last league was more so the league to attempt Ubers, but anyway. I didn't really have any spell suppression on any of my builds, so I didn't really want to. Overall, this build feels amazing though, and I'm going to be able to comfortably push red maps on a 4-link, so I'm not really too worried about gear. This feels like, you know, the power level as Bone Chatter for hardcore solo self-found. Like, this is super cheap to get off the ground. Really, the only thing that matters is your weapon and your quiver, and, you know, the rest is just luxury. And thanks, guys, so much for watching. It means a lot to me, really. I've made content for years. I got in and out of it. Now I really want to be in it again because I really enjoy making videos. I know they're not amazing quality or anything right now, and I kind of ramble in my videos, but over time I'm going to get better at it again and get more polished with my content. But anyway, thanks again, guys. I really appreciate you watching. I hope you guys get some insights from doing this build here. I may do a build guide, just depending on if people really want it. But I will link my scuffed POB in the description. I don't make POBs very often, so really it's just going to be like my leveling pathing. And then, you know, gear and stuff is kind of up to you. I mean, it's all subpar gear until maps anyway, right? So I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.